Hey everyone, Amos Bilo here, and I'm with Kyle, who was a member and participant of the Anchored Bootcamp. We actually just finished, so I wanted to introduce you to him, let you know what his experience was like if you're thinking about doing this, and also just gain some insight. So Kyle, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I am Kyle Weiser from Sioux Falls here, and I own Weiser Glass here in Sioux Falls. Install showers, house windows, shields, pretty much anything glass. And yeah, just started that about a year ago, so that takes up pretty much all my time right now.
Okay, so at this point in time, 6-7 weeks ago, what made you decide to do this Anchored Bootcamp?
Looking for, just other fellow Christian men that I could get involved with. A lot of my friend circle or my group I hang out in, not many of them are Christians. So I was just looking for a little more of that. And then, going through some marriage issues after being married for 5 years. So, just kind of trying to get a different outlook on that and, just another place I could turn to instead of the typical people I have in my life.
Sure. How long had it been like that, looking for Christian men to be around and also kind of some of the marriage struggles?
As far as the Christian men, it's always been in the back of my mind. I've always had being involved in the church and leading a guest services team. I've always had those Christian men, I guess, but it was just people I knew through church. So those are people you'd see on Sunday. Outside of that, I talked to them a little bit, but, I just knew that I needed more just what I was getting through the church itself. So, yeah, once I met with Amos, I knew that, it was just something that I needed to do, to farther my, circle in the Christian aspect. Yeah, the marriage, we've had our struggles the entire time, but it just really started to get bad probably a month or so before Amos and I met for the first time.
Okay. So just a month with the marriage and then a little bit longer with the Christian circle. What was it like, for that month leading up to deciding to do the boot camp? What was it like for you in your life having those challenges?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I could tell I was, starting to drift away from God a little bit, questioning why he was putting us through that, putting a lot of blame on myself, trying to figure out where I went wrong or what I did wrong, so yeah, it was a struggle for sure.
Sure. Were there any other areas that it affected? Relationship with people, relationship with church, your body health, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it affected pretty much, everything. My work, I just, wasn't as motivated, didn't care as much. My health, I don't know. Like, you hear a lot of people when they have issues, they'll put like everything into work or, just find other stuff to fill that void. And I guess I never did that. Like, I just didn't want to be at work, had no motivation to be there, didn't want to go to the gym. It was hard even, doing the weekly workouts because I just didn't care. And then the friends I did hang out with, I just kind of shut down because I didn't want any of them to know what I was going through at the time. I don't know if I was embarrassed by it or just didn't want to talk about it at the time, just wanted to process it myself, and try and bury it, forget about it, I guess you could say. So yeah, it affected, everywhere in my life.
Okay. So the way that you kind of reacted to it was isolating yourself and burying it, not really focusing on it. Why do you think that didn't work? Why do you think that didn't work for you?
Because in the back of my mind, I knew it wasn't something that was just gonna go away. you know, and when we've had struggles in the past, that's what I did, is just, you know, buried them, moved on. But, you know, until you deal with it, it's just going to keep circling its way around and eventually come back up.
Sure.
So if you don't handle this one, there's going to be another one down the road.
Yeah. Okay, so you got to a point where you realized that isolating wasn't going to be good enough. There was this big challenge in life, obviously, with the marriage, and so you decided to look into something else. What were your thoughts on coaching before you even met me?
You know, I'd never really thought about it a whole lot. You know, I kind of always had that outlook where, I don't know, like the stubborn, I guess, side outlook, where if you need to get help from someone else or coaching from someone else, or, you know, see a counselor, like there's, you know, something already wrong enough where there's no way you can recover from it. So I don't know, I think that was just the stubborn side of me, you know, figuring that if I can't fix the problem, then no one else will be able to.
Huh. Okay. So what made you decide in the long run then, or what made you decide then to do the boot camp? What changed your mind?
You know, now that I think back, I can't even remember why I reached out to you in the first place. You know, I think I saw a Facebook post and it was just something about, you know, growing stronger in your Christian faith and then being a better husband. And, you know, I just saw that post and I was like, yeah, this is, you know, definitely what I need. And I guess I didn't think about it as like a coaching aspect, or, you know, like see it as counseling or anything like that. And then after you and I met up that first time, you know, and we were just discussing stuff, like I thought it was going to be a, you know, 15-minute meeting, just get in, get out, not say, you know, a whole lot, but I don't know, just the way that, you know, you got me to open up and, you know, we could talk like we'd known each other, you know, for years. And we were just friends that hadn't talked in 5 years, and we were just catching up on what was going on in her life. And I don't know, it just like flipped a switch in my mind. And I was like, yeah, this is, you know, definitely something that I need to do, something I need to talk about, you know, and be able to open up and become, you know, more vulnerable with my struggles. So yeah, just totally changed the outlook I had on all that.
Awesome. No, I'm happy it did, and happy that we could just have that friendship right away and that ability to talk to each other. So then you decided from that to jump into the 6-week boot camp with these other guys, these other Christian guys. What was the entire experience like going through that in detail?
In detail. You know, when we first got into it, it wasn't like, I don't even know what I was expecting for sure. But like the first week wasn't what I was expecting. But then after that, like, I don't know if it became what I was expecting, even though I didn't know what I was expecting for sure, or if it was just, you know, what I needed at that time in my life. I don't know, like everything, like the 5-minute scriptures that your pastor went over, and then, you know, just the weekly devotions, weekly workouts, and then, you know, weekly, you know, action guides that you had us do. I don't know, they all aligned, you know, perfectly, and it just made me focus on stuff that I typically don't focus on. And it made me dig, you know, deeper into myself and actually realize what it is, you know, I've been missing, or what it is I need, or what I want to work toward, you know, just to become a better person overall, not only for myself, but, you know, for other people around me, for my wife, you know, maybe bring other people closer to God, you know, and just, you know, have the beliefs that, you know, they should have. So yeah, I don't know, amazing experience overall.
Wow. No, that's wonderful. Kind of became what you expected. That's a cool way to put it.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel now after the program that's different than before? If you had to try to put it into words, I guess you did a little bit just there, but
Yeah. Before I was pretty closed off, didn't really, share my emotions, even with my wife. And that's, where part of my struggles were. She didn't feel like I was, being open with her or being vulnerable with her. And I, just after the program, in the short 6 weeks, I mean, not saying that I'm completely open and vulnerable now, because there's, still a lot that I'm sure I closed off. But yeah, just after the 6 weeks, I can tell that I am becoming a lot more open with people, not just with her, but just people in general. Like, if there's something on my mind, I just say it. Don't worry about, how it's going to come across, or, whether it's going to irritate them or not, because, that was one of my biggest issues before is, saying something that may hurt that person, or they just disagree with it. So I just wouldn't say it. I'd think through like the entire thought process, like, okay, if I say this, they might think this. And then by the time I got around to saying it, it was like, okay, there's no point in saying it now. Where now, I just share it with the outlook of, if they disagree with it, or if it does hurt them, then it gives me that chance for, follow-up questions, or, to talk through it with them, so they can understand, why I feel that way, or what I meant by it, instead of just not taking the chance of saying it at all.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now you're able to be open with these people. With how you're acting differently now around people, have you seen any changes in the relationships? Not only with your wife, but just with other people?
Yeah, I feel like, people become more open to me and more willing to talk and share what's on their mind, instead of just giving me little details here and there. So yeah, I feel like, being open with them definitely makes them feel like they can be more vulnerable with me, and trust opening up to me at the same time.
Sure. So more trusting relationships now. And looking back, at those 6 weeks, what is one thing that you're really proud of accomplishing?
On the same path, just being able to open up about my struggles to, a bunch of guys that I don't know at all, and not worrying about how they're going to take it, or, wonder what's wrong with me, just taking that chance and diving in.
Yeah. Awesome. And then what was the most important thing that helped you achieve those types of changes or results in the 6 weeks that we were together?
I would say, honestly, it was probably after the first week and we filled out our visions, where we want to change, where we want to be, and just picturing, if we made that change, what that vision looks like in detail. I think that helped me change the most, actually thinking about, what I want to accomplish, and not just, living the day-to-day life, waking up, doing the same thing, and hoping life becomes something.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So talking about visions then, now from this point on, because we kind of did the same thing in week 6, what are you looking forward to from now looking on?
These flies to leave me alone. Just continue, growing closer to God, and, put my trust in Him, and realizing that, what's supposed to be or what's supposed to happen, that, He has complete control over it. We do have free will, but yeah, He still has, no matter how much you try to change it, like he still has a plan in place for you. So like you can mess up in one area, but he's still going to guide you where he wants you to be. So, just keep growing there, keep reaching out to other men and, trying to get them, to believe if they don't. And yeah, just hoping that my marriage continues to grow, that we work things out and yeah, have a marriage like we've never had before.
Awesome. A lot of good things to look forward to. And I hope we can be right there along with each other as you work through all those things. Last thing then is, what would you say to someone else who is putting off fixing their problems and frustrations, or have the same belief as you, maybe that if they can't fix it, then no one can, so what's the point, type of thing?
First of all, I'd say get rid of that mindset that, someone else can't help you get through it, because it definitely helps, talking to someone about your issues. And, as much as it sucks to, take on those issues and the problems that you're having in life, and as hard as it is to, actually tackle the situation and, try and work through it, if you don't work through it, that struggle, it's still going to be there. It's not just going to go away on its own. Eventually sometime in life, you either need to, take it head on and try and, crush the situation, or, you're just going to be thinking about it the rest of your life, wondering what if, are you going to be stressing out over it forever, because you can never truly bury it. It's always going to come back up. Even if you feel like it's past, something will bring it back up eventually. So until you can move past it, yeah, it's going to be there somewhere.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's fantastic advice, and I'll make sure that gets passed on to other people who do struggle with things, want to have more Christian men around them, and there are things out there for them. So, Kyle, I really appreciate you. I think it's amazing that you've been able to show up as a strong leader, as a strong Christian man in your marriage, and that you're still working on that. You're still pushing hard into it. You're getting closer to God. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Thanks, brother.